Hey guys, Matthew here. Today is gonna be probably short one. I did finish chapter. Haven't written for a couple of last days. Basically, I decided I need a bit of a time to recharge, even though I love writing and every time I write, it's like best drug there is. And as per usual, I had idea for short scene before we cut out to something else, and it ended up being a whole chapter. Which there's always second draft, as always. This is first draft, but I can always cut it out. But I like when it went. I discovery wrote. Sounds weird, but I discovered new character. Originally, I didn't meant to give her name, but I did, and I think in second draft I'm gonna retrofit her into earlier scenes and make her way more important. So what happens? Last time I finished part with our heroine being stuck in parallel universe, finally finding her way home. This time I got back to her compatriots. Last time we saw them, seeing Evelyn, our heroine, being thrown into a portal or rather rift, and either thrown into other world or dead, which for all they knew might as well be same thing. So our two unlikely heroes, mercenary Keaton and caravan merchant, also however gun mage and very capable fighter Reno, decided to stick in the city despite the fact that city people turned on them, despite the fact that this wasn't their fight. They just wanted to get out. They realized that it was council and it was Mayor Ben Ronson specifically who turned people on them through lies and through manipulation. Despite being cold-blooded killers, even Keaton admitted that it wasn't those people's faults that they went after them, even if they were framed. Those people didn't know any better. So, by the way, I hate irrational characters, so it wasn't that. It wasn't Japanese style writing. We're gonna forgive you everything as long as you give us sad story. I hate that shit. No, they just simply decided that while they don't really owe those people anything and while they have no reason to feel guilty for leaving, and they won't, despite their bad nature, they decide to went back to city and save whoever they can. Now we cut back to them with Reno going forward with his Mauser automatic pistol, doing his magical burst fire, basically nature of Reno's gun magic, so-called rune gun magic, is he has this rune on his arms, and he uses mostly full auto or burst fire pistol, but he prefers full auto, preferably with slower rate of fire so he can better control them. He's really good with his Mauser, even though this one isn't his, he took it from Erika, or rather Erika offered it to him, since she knows him from the past. Erika being businesswoman in this city who's also part of the council, who also Keaton used to be her bodyguard, or during the first act of the story Keaton is her bodyguard. Reno is her friend. Reno is very younger, and it's implied, and it's kind of a point of the joke that heroine Evelyn, did I call her Emily before? I have different character and different story called Emily, so sometimes I can mistake in them. So heroine Evelyn and her friend Liz talk to herself, and it's kind of a joke that it's pretty heavily implied that Erika used to sleep with Reno, and he didn't exactly seem as a victim. He loves her, not in a romantic sense, but it's said that Erika helped Reno a lot when he was starting with his business, with his caravans, and she was more than generous with him. I realize I left it in the air, possibly implying that Erika forced herself on Reno through the Azari. Basically, I just realized way it may come out is that Erica forced Reno to sleep with her, and that as a reward she helped him with his startup. That wasn't intention. Rather, Reno is kind of a ladies' man, sort of a swashbuckler with heart of gold. He's not Jack of the heart of gold. That would be Keaton, who's more of a jerk with the heart of jerk, but he has his softer side, even though it's still in the air if he's helping people because he sees it as a good thing or because he just wants more fight and more fun. Even though other characters haven't seen it yet, but there was scene earlier on from Keaton's perspective when they're going to rescue Liz, when Keaton in his mask said that while he enjoys fighting for fighting's sake, not even he is big enough asshole to turn his back to woman in danger. So both of those men have soft spot for Erica. Erica is, even by Evelyn, who is bisexual, described as sort of a MILF and beautiful, beautiful woman. There's a moment when they're hanging out in the first act, which is kind of a slow burn, but very intentional. You get to know all the characters. I balance it out by seeing bad guys, which at least at first Erica is part of the council, preparing to turn their back on Evelyn and Liz and preparing to murder both of them. So you have your slice of life, calm parts, but those are always interrupted by perspective of the villains preparing to turn the tide. So basically, hey, Erica, there's a point where Evelyn sees Erica in bikini and she says that she would give anything to look like that when she's in her age. In fact, Evelyn says, I would give anything to look like that right now. So I don't do a lot of physical description. One, I'm not good at it. B, I actually don't have graphic imagination. There are different types of intelligences and different types of imaginations. I'm good at imagining and therefore describing action, movement, dialogue, and feelings and sensations. I don't write it's cold, I write sensation in hand and feet and eyes and whatever. I'm not as good at describing how everyone looks, so I leave most of that for our audience. Only it's any MILF lovers out there, you're gonna love Erica. So it's possible that Keaton slept with her, even though Keaton clearly doesn't care one way or the other. It's implied heavily that Reno had some sort of relationship with Erica. In fact, Erica may or may not have this position in Reno's life, and she's not necessarily his first woman, but it's sort of the one woman that he always compares any other to. Basically, Reno looks up to Erica, and he clearly has soft spot for her, as she has for him. It's not necessarily a romantic love. They're both very rational people. They both know what's up. But it's kind of this, almost like that one sexy teacher you fell in love when you were younger, even though Reno was already way out of school age when he met Erica. In this way, Erica clearly loves younger guys. Evelyn notes that in this regard, she would definitely get along with her mother. Either way, it's important to describe those two guys' relationships. So Erica, who's our villain with the question mark, I would say on the actual villain scale, it's Ben on the top, closer to the villain, Mayor Ben. Researcher Dominic, way below, but still number 2. Then there would be Erica, who didn't actively do anything to stop them, but she decides that she just doesn't want to be there when it happens, so she left home and tried to fall asleep. And below that would be Father Nick, who soon as Evelyn, Reno, and Keaton survive attempted murder, they went right after Father Nick, because getting to know all those people, Evelyn very quickly predicted that he would be first one to give up because he sees that it's clearly way too dangerous and probably not best way to save the city again. There was a plan to sacrifice Evelyn's friend Liz in the magic ritual and gain infinite amount of power, which they messed up, and they sort of broke the world and pretty much summoned Helgane in the city, which is now monsters appearing. Some people are turning into monsters, basically all hell broke loose. Reno and Keaton, like I said, decide to come back. They decide to evacuate city, as we saw in one of the previous chapters. Erika decide to took everything she can and go back to city also, even though she doesn't really have armed personnel. She had Keaton for that, who's gun mage charger. He basically can charge energy into his bullet and create pistol ground into grenade launcher. Imagine the mess that happens when he does that with his heavy machine gun. So Reno is leading people. He's sending his bursts. I didn't finish this. He has full auto Mauser pistol with stock. He shoots different size burst fire. Sometimes he shoots 2 bullets, sometimes he shoots 3 or 4 or 7, and each of those bursts does something else. He can shoot 2 bullets who sort of spin around each other and create drill and destroy enemy like that. He can shoot 4 or 5 rounds that he turns into stars and they'll rip everything that goes close. So when he goes like that, he's cleaning monsters that are popping out in front of him, even people who aren't fully turned. He doesn't like that, but he realizes it's the best way to go, and there's no way to save them, only put them out of their misery, and they will take way more bullets once they turned. Meantime, Keaton is in the back shooting all the monsters that are going after them, which he enjoys immensely. I didn't really describe that this was more of a Reno's chapter for most of the part, but they reach much being businesswoman and owning factory and her own mansion. Erika, more preferably Lady Erika, took all her trucks and all the cars she had and all she could gather from her factory and brought them into city to evacuate the people. She wanted to create her own sort of secondary militia. She was providing weapons and ammunition for militia, which Father Nick was in charge of, which when Ben murdered Nick after he realized he wants to give up and surrender, and of course he framed Evelyn, Reno, and Keaton, which is why they were chased by most of the city, especially militia that Father Nick created. Now, Erika wanted to provide weapons for militia. She also wanted to create her own, not necessarily armed guard to challenge anyone in the city. She just wanted her own employees to be bodyguards for mine and for the factory. So they weren't trained. In fact, I should add that into second draft. I just realized that, or rather, I just had idea. I wasn't sure how to do this vlog, but as I'm talking about this, I'm getting ideas as I'm talking. So I'm definitely gonna do this, possibly every day I can, unless I'm busy, which I'm always busy. But I'm gonna try to squeeze at least 20 minutes. Either way, Erika agrees with Nick that he's gonna train people, but they haven't happened yet. So, as Rena points out, those people who are holding weapons don't really seem to have much more training below, as Reno despises it. Not much training beyond pull this to shoot. He sees that they're either too young or too old. Only exception being some sort of strange woman. Not stranger, like mysterious or young adult type, but one woman who's not Erika, he's a younger woman in her 30s, still a bit older than Keaton and Reno, who are in their 20s. And she's yelling out orders. She's clearly, when Reno stays in cover and yells for them because he's not sure if they're gonna open fire, even if they brought refugees, he cannot be sure what they do. So he yells from cover, says, "We have people. I'm Reno, we brought the people, don't shoot." There's old man who clearly isn't sure what to do. He's calling back at him, what? I told you your servers, I told you your others, what happened? Then this woman steps in. She later introduced herself as Nico. Hey, what the hell is going on? Why are you sitting? Just send those people in. Who sends people? He goes, okay, I'm coming out. Then Nico calls on Reno. Hey, are you taking shit out there? Just come out. So Reno is... Either she doesn't know that city turned on them, or she's playing bluff. So he goes, okay, I'm coming out. Don't shoot because he's not sure. Oh, no, sorry, he doesn't know yet. He's playing for time, but then Keaton catches up with last people, and he recognizes the voice. He yells back, hey, Nico, is that you? That's where we learn her name. She doesn't introduce herself, sorry. He calls, hey, Nico, is that you? She calls back, no, you asshole, it's my long-lost sister. So clearly, Nico and Keaton have sort of rival, but friendly rival relationship. They come out, they chat. It turns out that Nico, and that's why I went out of my way to describe that everyone in the city, they're not some sort of cult, they just believe in council, because council... I call them villains ? Or anti-villains. Anti-villain is proper name, but I start calling them villain ? Because while they are the villains and while they are doing really questionable shit, their first, last and only goal is to help their city and help their people. They just took risk they shouldn't have. They did some clearly nasty shit. And none of them is big enough hypocrite to deny that, especially not Erica and Nick. But everyone in the city, I was really heavily avoiding them being evil brainwash villains, so I spent most of the book describing how everyone in the city truly believes in them and truly have reason to believe in them. And Nico, without planning it, as I was discovery writer her, it came out that she's actually... Originally I wanted to find a way why she wouldn't open fire, or why she wouldn't know about... Evelyn, Reno, and Nick and Keaton being persona non grata, why they would be in target. So I made it that she was outside the city. From that, it came out from me that she's huntress living in the woods, and she's not really a social person. She hangs out with Keaton. She clearly does business. She sells meat, fur, bones to people in the city, mostly to get supplies, but she prefers to be in her own way. She doesn't necessarily hate council, but she sure as hell doesn't love them. She just prefers her own way. She calls Mayor Ben Mustache. And it came out that and there's a line that came out improvisation, but I'm pretty proud of it. I'm not comedic writer, so this is big step. There's a moment when Keaton asks, what the hell? That's something. What the hell made you come down to city? And she just goes, heavens exploding. And they're like, yeah, that happened because when ritual went wrong, basically sky broke, and in area above the city, starry night sky just disappeared. Instead of there's blood red and it's bleeding out and monsters appear and there's cloud around the city forming barrier. So they know it's only gonna get worse. But she came down, she tried to get people to the forest where she's from, or where she decided to live, but monsters blocked the way, so instead of, someone suggested to go to the factory, much like people that Reno and Keaton saved suggested to go to the main crossroads to find cars, and that's where Erica found basically made her temporary base just for few minutes to hour to gather everyone she can and escort them with trucks. A bit convenient that they all meet there, but also I'm gonna write it a bit more clearly that this is sort of crossroads in the middle of the city, so it makes more sense to set temporary base there to gather all the refugees, and also makes sense for everyone to go there. Kind of like, let's say, Raccoon Police Department in Resident Evil 2, except they don't stay there often. They don't stay there long enough to become deadly trap. So they gather everyone, they chat. Nico reveals that she knows. In fact, she knows that Mayor wants to kill them, but unlike most people, she doesn't take Mayor's words automatically. In fact, Keaton and Reno forgot which one specifically asked her, "What do you know anyway? What did you hear?" And she says, "I heard you're guilty of murder, kidnapping, conspiracy, terrorism, and turning milk into cottage cheese right into cows' tits." So they clearly understand that, okay, she doesn't believe this bullshit. She also says, "I don't necessarily believe you're innocent, but I know bullshit." No, hey, Reno asks her, You're not friends with the council, aren't you?" And she responds with, "I know bullshit when I hear one." Or see one, forgot which one I wrote. She also reveals that while plan is to go to factory, she wants to make short detour, climb the cliff into radio tower, because if they went straight there, they could only go up in the mountain or back to the city, so they wouldn't make it in time to factory. Factories were armored building with thick walls, so they want to set up defense there and wait it out until help comes. But first she wants to call the help, or rather make sure they come quickly. Radio tower is the only way to contact anyone outside the city. Other way being Evelyn's sheriff's radio, but of course they seized it and destroyed it just in case. She admits it's pretty risky without backup, but two gun mages admits that not even admits, they confess that Evelyn had similar plan. She didn't want to wait it out in factory. She wanted to took Ben as hostage and call for help from radio tower. So either way, that also set out how they later meet. I wanted to split characters and then meet them again, so I made it. There's one point where Reno, Keaton, Erica, we get to that, and now Nico meet, and I wanted point when all of them meet Evelyn again. So there's that center part, and then there's that radio tower. In fact, Evelyn makes it clear that plan B, if everything goes to shit, still try to make it to the radio tower. It's our only backup plan. So it's obvious that they're gonna meet there. In the meantime, Nico says that, this sucks, but I don't know who exactly organized this. They ask her, "Are you in the charge?" Nico says, "No one had balls to tell me I'm not. I'm clearly best fighter here before you two showed up, at least." Even though she says she's not gun mage, but she's handy with the gun, possibly as good as with them. I don't like what superpower is blank for everything. You can be still better gunslinger even though you're not gun mage. She doesn't say that until U2 shows up. She says, "I'm best fighter here, sorry, my bad." She might in fact be. Then Evelyn might be better, but she has vast combat training. I would say that Evelyn and Keaton are best killers in the story so far. Other than monsters, at least when it comes to fighting hand to hand and then gun magic. Evelyn is sheriff and Keaton is mercenary. And sheriff in this universe are almost like witches or Jedi. They're high class warriors, heavily trained. Oh, thought I ruined my mic. Now, she says that I'm not entirely sure who organized this rescue. I just took over because I'm best fighter here. They're like, okay, makes sense. Meantime, Keaton is looking at our faces and seeing butlers, maids, which even Reno shows up. That's weird. Organized rescue group mostly run by maids and butlers and factory people. Keaton puts together that those are Erica's people. Even though I realized that Reno probably should put it together too. Then one truck shows up with blood and gore on its front and its wheels, so they guess that, this wasn't easy ride. And then other truck, And Erika steps out of that. So far she's just described like beautiful woman, but I want audience to put it together immediately who she is. She walks, she organizes everything, she has 50 things on her mind, she's trying to make this whole rescue operation work. She goes, okay, did you took over when I wasn't here? Nico says yes. Okay, thank you, I know who you are, you're a huntress, I need you to protect the caravan, we're going head to the factory. Nico says, no, I want to take detour, I want to send SOS from radio tower. To which Erika responds, I heard how good you are, but you cannot do that alone, and I cannot give you any of my people. Then Nico says, I said, we going to radio tower. I do have backup. And only then Erika notices that Reno and Keaton are there. Reno and Keaton, who are her good friends, which she willingly and consciously sent to death, because when they couldn't be sure, council couldn't be sure if Reno and Keaton gonna play along or they gonna take Evelyn's side, so they decided that safest bet is to kill them all. Even though Erika hated it, she considered both of their friends, but it was a hard decision for her, but in sake of people she did that. And now they're out. Reno is not vengeful. Keaton made it clear that he's going to do horrible things to Erika second he has chance. And even if Erika is doing everything she can to repay for a mistake, if she's saving people, at this point she gathered hundreds of people from the city and she's evacuating them to the factory. Basically she's leading Exodus. Reno care and Evelyn will care. Keaton doesn't fucking care. And before it said who she is, even though it's obvious for audience, it just described her complete fear and terror. And I'm pretty proud of it. I've been told I'm pretty good at describing this. I'm gonna wrap this up, but I just basically describe her eyes, her face, how her pupils are shaking, how her eyebrows go up, how she stops on the place. Reno comments that he's not proud of it, but look down to her in between the legs, basically on her vaginal area, and down to her feet, and he's genuinely surprised he's not dripping in urine given how she looks. And to all this, her terror in her eyes as she's looking at Keaton, because she might not know what Reno does, but she knows that Keaton doesn't forgive. So she's looking in terror at Keaton's face, and Keaton is just like, good evening, Erika. Did you miss me? And that's end of the chapter. So of course, Reno doesn't let Keaton kill her just yet, even though Reno has no chance. He's more of a saver in it. Keaton agrees to at least keep her alive long enough to bring people to factory, and then he's gonna wants to probably skin her alive. Evelyn shows up, and I have idea just today for have pretty just no gun, just power of presence, power struggle between Evelyn and Keaton, and Evelyn comes up victor. Keaton, to everyone's surprise, when Evelyn starts talking and looking then in his eyes, Keaton respects nothing but power and strength, and Evelyn does that. And in fact, since they last meet, Evelyn realized that she was always a great fighter, and she has a lot of empathy and mercy. She decides to put her empathy on cold for a while, at least put her mercy down a little bit, and she realized it's time to get brutal and take these bad guys down and fix this. So Keaton sees it in her, and Keaton, despite everyone's expectation, just backs down and is like, okay, Sheriff, you prove to me you're tougher than me, at least right now. I'm still gonna kill Erika someday, but for now, let it go your way. But that's gonna be a few chapters from now. So far, we ended part with Keaton and Reno, and in future part we'll see how survivors who didn't get out of city are dealing with this. And Evelyn shows up back in our universe again, without friends, without allies, in this city, and it's gonna be sometimes after, so city is completely polluted. Everyone who was capable of fighting either left or died, so it's only those few people who are there trapped. There's more than few people, but we're gonna focus on small group that is trapped there. And Evelyn alone, dropping back to our universe, seeing just how insanely city changed, how everything is mutated, how there is veins from sky and everything is crazy. But that is for future chapters. So thank you for watching, thank you for listening. I am Maťo. This was my daily writing blog about my story Moonlight Star, and can't wait for you to see you next time. Goodbye.